So, Hollywood has plans for some of our greatest video games. I'm Aaron, and this is Talking Points. So what's going on, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of Talking Points here on Triforce of Chaos. On today's episode, we'll be talking about a couple of the new game-based movies that are coming out. We'll also be talking about some of the past movies that have come out that either made or broke a certain franchise from ever getting another movie. We'll also talk about games that have potential to be made into movies. We'll answer last week's Talking Point, following that up with this week's Talking Point. And that should finish up the episode there. I'll also make a quick announcement. Last week before we get started, last week I accidentally said JJ Challenger's name wrong. It's JJ Challenger. Again, sorry about that. But now that we've all said all that, let's get talking. So, recently we've had some movies announced that are coming out based on video games. First being Warcraft, another being Ratchet and Clank. A lot of fans are skeptical of how Hollywood can handle this. One, video game movies have never really done well because the story never really is based on what we've played. But, we've got, Warcraft, which has been a long-running staple in the PC gaming community with, Warcraft 1, 2, and 3, and then finally WoW. Now they're deciding to make this into a movie. A lot of fans are still, will this be a Warcraft movie or will it be a fantasy movie with a Warcraft title? And then you got Ratchet and Clank. Ratchet and Clank was one of the premier PlayStation games that came out with PlayStation 2, I want to say. And it was really it really kind of took the place of Jak and Daxter or other games out there that really, solidified what PlayStation gaming was all about. With these kind of movies here, it's always very touch and go. Sometimes they hit a home run, sometimes not so much. But I think these two movies right here could really make the video game movie comeback that we've all been waiting for, depending on how the directors take it. I see a lot of advertisements for the Ratchet and Clank movie, a lot for the Warcraft movie, and they both look fantastic. But, again, looking fantastic and following what is the lore of the game, will it do it? Well, we'll have to wait and see, but I really hope that they can live up to the potential that we the fans of these video games have come to expect, But the video game movie industry has really been lacking in the past few years. I mean, you had the Mario Brothers movie, which again, a good movie, but not a Mario game. Not based on a Mario game. It was, we'll take bits and pieces of the lore, turn it into a movie. Hey, we'll try. I mean, that made Nintendo say no more touching any of our franchises for a movie, which kind of sucks because Nintendo has. I mean, they have Metroid, they have Legends of Zelda, they have just countless different movies, or countless different games that they could turn into movies. Mario, they could redo that and make it better, but because of that 90s flop, it just, or 90s market flop, it wasn't a bad movie, just wasn't the direction it needed to go. Will we see that? Will we see a great experience with with that story? Will they be great movies? I mean, it's too early to tell, but from what I can see, they're pretty good stories so far. Now we'll delve a little bit into the past with that, kind of delving into the past with this. You had the Mario Bros movies, which I know I watched, and I liked it. It wasn't exactly Mario Brothers the game. It was take two Italian plumbers from New York, which one's played by John Leguizamo, who's not Italian, but that's beyond the point. But anyway, have them go into this magical realm of dinosaurs that evolved into dinosaur humanoids. It takes that idea that Mario was Mario fighting Bowser and sci-fi's it up to the point where it's not a Mario game, where it's not based on a Mario game, but it was still a good movie. Nintendo didn't like it. The fans panned it. Critics hated it. Nintendo backed out of the movie industry after that. I mean, they were thinking of doing others, and they were like, no. What it did right for me, though, was it gave me a story that was original. Not Mario, but, it was Mario-esque. It also had, a pretty good group that acted in it. I mean, many of these actors were big-name actors, and they jumped into this movie. You had the Resident Evil series of movies, talking about video game movies. Not Resident Evil, except for a few names thrown in there, and a few costumes that they decided to throw in there. But it wasn't what the Resident Evil fans had wanted. Besides, it was more or less Mila Jovovich. I guess I'm saying that name right. It's hard to pronounce Russian names like that, or Ukrainian names, or wherever she's from. Anyway, it really took that brand, made it a household name compared to, Resident Evil as a video game. It did a lot of things right for Resident Evil. But, again, the plot itself was not Resident Evil. It wasn't, it brought up Umbrella Corps, it brought up stars, it brought up everything, but at the same time, it was not the Resident Evil movie fans wanted, Tekken series, you barely hear about this movie series. It does exist. There is a live action out there. It didn't live up to expectations of fans. A lot of fans panned it. But it did exactly what Tekken is supposed to do. It was a tournament. It had the Kazama, the Kazama Mishima tie-ins. Brought up my favorite character, Yoshimitsu. I mean, I'm a big Yoshimitsu fan, so it was good to see someone actually playing Yoshimitsu and being that silent character that he kind of is, but he's more goofy than he is, combat oriented. It did right by following somewhat of the plot of the series, but at the same time, it wasn't Tekken-esque. It was Tekken-esque, but it wasn't Tekken. Mortal Kombat, another great game that ended up getting a subpar movie series. I mean, the first movie was decent. I'll give it that. It was a decent movie, but it never lived up to the Mortal Kombat expectations. A lot of fans hated it because the acting was just 90s. Okay, it's okay to get by with this acting, but it wasn't really that great. Tomb Raider, another series of movies. I appreciated the Tomb Raider movies. I watched both of them, but it didn't feel like the video game. There was action, there was a sexy character, which, wasn't exactly what Tomb Raider was intended to be, in a way. She was more or less, they were trying to introduce a female character into the playthrough, or into the gaming world that girls could latch onto, but polygons. Yeah, that turned her into being the, yeah. Anyway, the Tomb Raider movies did a lot good rather than a lot wrong, but they didn't live up to a lot of the Tomb Raider fans' expectations. There are other series out there I could delve on, but there's just way too many to list. Like Street Fighter, and then you've got Wing Commander. Wing Commander was another movie that, failed to deliver that Wing Commander experience in a movie, but it had it was a decent sci-fi movie. I mean, I enjoyed it. It kind of played off of the gaming a little bit, but it wasn't the Wing Commander that we all know. There's like I said, other series out there you can go watch. I encourage you to check out all of these movies that I've named. Even though they're panned by critics, you have to formulate your own opinion on movies. Don't follow what the critics say. Again, a lot of them took the concept of the game or the concept of the storyline of the game and turned it into a movie. It wasn't exactly what the fans were looking for, and that's why they failed critically. I mean, we look at the Mario Bros. Movie. It caused Nintendo to step out of the movie industry, and that kind of sucked. But that's what I've got as far as the list goes of some of the movies that have come out. Again, like I said, there are plenty others out there. If you want to check them out, by all means, check them out. They're awesome. Like I said, they're awesome movies. But you know, with those movies being named, we do have a potential list of games that could be made into movies. I mean, you've got the Halo series. It's had smaller direct-to-DVD movies and, you know, or to streaming network movies. But no real big theatrical release like you would think would come with a Halo game. The possibility is real high here because, I mean, this is a game that has, I mean, a series of game, you know, a game series itself that has truly built a mass following. I mean, people grab hold to Master Chief. If there's a Halo action figure out there, there's, you know, Halo shirts, movies. Like I said, they're direct-to-DVD movies. Posters, I mean, everything Halo has. Halo is everything right with a game, but what can Hollywood do to make it that? You know, make it more than that? That is yet to be seen. Metal Gear Solid, or the Metal Gear series in general, is a great game. The storyline with espionage and tactics and giant robots, all of that could develop a great movie. However, I don't see it being possible now with Kojima leaving Konami and the big split feud battle that's come on, and you know, it's just, yeah, I don't foresee Metal Gear getting what we want out of it, which kind of sucks because Metal Gear is a great game and would make a great movie. Just like I said with Halo. Halo is a great game, would make a great movie. You just got to find the person that's going to do it right. Legends of Zelda would be another great, you know, game turned movie. However, you know, it's fantasy, it's got action, you've got a hero that's rescuing a princess, you've got the villain that seems to frustrate the character till all ends. This would be a great movie to make, however, and certain timelines would make great movies. However, Nintendo will not budge on that no movie deal. I mean, sounds like they might be doing it a little, but they're not comfortable with that after the Mario Bros. Incident. So, you know, will we ever see one? Who knows? Maybe Nintendo may budge, but right now it just doesn't seem like it's happening. They're great. All of these are great movies. All of these are great games, and they should be made into movies. I mean, you've got other games out there that could be transferred over, like Uncharted, or Gears of War, or a GTA movie, or an Elder Scrolls movie. All of those would be awesome, but you have to have a director that's willing to put forth the effort to actually know what these games are about, know what makes these games popular, and build it like that. So, you know, that pretty much sums up all of today's Talking Points episode. Now we'll move on to the Fanswers segment, which is my favorite segment of answering the Talking Point itself, which last week's Talking Point was, which video game would you like to see made into a movie? We had a lot of answers this week, so we'll start off with the one on the YouTube channel, which was JJ Challenger. Again, I've got your name right this time. Sorry about it last time. He said, this discussion really brought me back in time. Awesome video, guys. I appreciate the answers, JJ Challenger. You're doing I really appreciate you answering, man. That, you know, I've checked out some of your channels. I've checked out your channel as well. You do a pretty awesome job, so I want to give you a shout out, man. You've been answering the past couple of weeks, and it's been really awesome having you answer. But, yeah, just make sure you answer this week's Talking Point. I'll say it at the end of the episode. Jimmy writes, Skyrim, of course. Nicole writes, I would love to see a live-action Yoshi's Island. She also agreed with Jimmy and said that Skyrim would make a good movie. A lot of people said Skyrim, so a lot of you love that idea. Noah writes, Skyrim, Duke Nukem, and Broforce, and many, many others. He told me I needed to make sure I put everything in caps locks and announce it like that. So, thank you, Noah. Travis writes, F all that crap. RoboCop vs. Terminator. Of course, he's talking about the RoboCop vs. Terminator game that came out for Super Nintendo and Sega Genesis, I believe. That would probably be a decent movie, but I don't think Fox is going to touch any of that. One reason, I mean, look at how they did with AVP. I like the AVP movies, but they're not You never put two iconic teams against each other. So they're not gonna. It probably won't happen, Travis. But still, good answer. Taylor writes, The Division, Skyrim, Kingdom Hearts. So long as it didn't end up like the first ALY or Alley fantasy movies. I'm not sure what she's talking about there towards the end. That last part I don't understand. But I agree with her. Kingdom Hearts, Skyrim, and The Division would be awesome. But I see what she's trying to say. Final Fantasy movie. Yeah. That would be another great series to try out again, you know? So, yeah, I understand what you're saying now, Taylor. Sorry. Typos seems like that was an autocorrect thing, so we'll let that slide. Jen writes, half joking, but when I saw the trailer someone made for Roller Coaster Tycoon, the thriller, I thought it would make a pretty interesting movie. The Sims would be an interesting choice too, which they have been trying to develop one, Jen. However, it's in development hell as we speak. I don't foresee a Sims movie being that popular of a choice, but I agree with you. It would be an interesting movie to see made. She then says, but a serious answer, even though I haven't played Skyrim, I've seen it enough to know that it would make an awesome movie. I agree. I mean, everybody here's saying Skyrim. I mentioned the Elder Scrolls movies earlier, and that would be a decent series to go make. It's got a long lore, a long history. You could bring in Aedra, Daedra, all that fun stuff, and it would make it a great movie. Katie writes, I think Zelda, Ocarina of Time, or Ocarina of Time, as I've been told I need to start pronouncing it, should become a movie. I agree. Again, I mentioned that earlier, you know, Zelda. It would be an awesome movie series to make, but Nintendo is still just no on anything like that. Katie, I'm right there with you, wishing for it. So, anyway, that was all the fanswers we had for last week. Thanks, everybody, for answering. And now you can gear up and get ready to answer this question for this week, which is, we want to know, what is your favorite book or series of books? For me, I love the Ringworld series of books. They're written by Larry Niven. If you ever get the chance to read them, great sci-fi series. This man really introduced the concept, kind of like the Dyson Sphere, but it's a Niven ring is what they call it. It basically orbits the sun. Go read the books. I mean, I can't really explain everything in detail. It gives you alien races. It gives you thrills, chills, all that fun stuff. It's really an awesome series. I also like the Alien, Predator, and AVP books that were made to go along with, you know, kind of follow along the movies and give you a fan idea of that. And some of the Star Wars books are awesome too. Don't really get into too many of the Star Wars books anymore because, again, Disney's kind of axed any idea that, or any concept that those were part of the lore. That was a big universe you just killed off there, Disney. But anyway, we want to hear your answers for this week, or as I always say, your fanswers. For this week's talking point, and all talking points, we always enjoy our fanswers. So if you want to leave a fanswer for this week, you can do so in the comments below, or either on our Facebook and Twitter pages. I would tell you to go to the website, but right now we're having some technical difficulties in the forums. So we're working on that now, hopefully getting that fixed. Shouldn't take too much longer. We'll let you know as soon as that comes available. But in the meantime, since you can't go to our forums page, you can go to our merch shop and check out some of the awesome shirts. You saw last week's Talking Point shirt. If you want to support that, you can buy that. Or you can buy any Triforce of Chaos, Eat a Dick, or anything like that we come up with on a phone case or t-shirt. No thongs this time. Sorry. Maybe. I don't know. We might come up with those later. But anyway, we've got that up and running. Check it out. Everything that I've talked about, it'll have links in the description below. And anyway, that concludes today's episode. Thanks for watching, and as always, keep talking. Hey everyone, Deadpool here. I know, I'm a movie star now, and an awesome mercenary. But in between all of that fun stuff, sometimes I just like to show up in random places and eat a chimichanga, maybe show off some of my awesomeness that is, you know, me being Deadpool. Anywho, if you want to subscribe to more awesome stuff, you can click on this little wonderful version of me. Or, you know, if you want to see another video, you can click on, well, he's backwards. But hey, you can click his ass if you want to watch another awesome video.